Loktar, friends. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Orc Mode workout. And today was Max Effort Bench Press Day. Today I did reverse bench with the blue bands, which create a small amount of additional tension over my red bands. Now, how much is subject to a lot of debate. It's really hard to pin down. Just remember there's almost none at the top. So it's pretty much bar weight as far as lockout minus whatever the bands are pulling at the bottom. And accordingly, I actually got a little more than I got with the red bands when I did those. But again, we track them separate. We don't try to always extrapolate with this stuff how close they are together. We just accept each lift as its own exercise. And I think that's where people really mess up sometimes with accommodating resistance, and they assume that whatever lift always carries over to something else or is representative of a given strength. Like they think they can estimate their bench press based upon their accommodating resistance as far as a direct calculation. Instead of saying, hey, my reverse band bench went up 25 pounds, I bet my bench has gone up 20 pounds, right? That might be a better way to look at it, but it doesn't carry over the same. So when we talk about people using it to mass strength, that's what we're talking about. But I got with the blue bands, I got 375 today. It took me just a little bit to get into the groove. And overall, I was happy with that. So I'm going to mark it. That's my baseline, my first time doing this with blue band. Now, part of me felt like based upon kind of how it felt, based upon bar speed, everything else, I might have been able to get a little bit more. That maybe I had another 5 or 10 pounds in me. But we're not going to find out today, are we? Right? We're not going to find out today. Because part of me is saying, this is the most I've held in my hands in a barbell for any sort of bench press in many years. So we're going to be conservative with it. It's good enough. It's good enough. It was fairly heavy. We got real close to a max, and it felt good. And now I have a baseline. So when I do this lift again next time, we want a PR on that. Right? We want a PR. But it was fatiguing enough that I felt it when I went to do singles on bench afterwards. Like I could tell I was fatigued. I could tell that I definitely got above 90%. Probably above 95%. Right? Probably above 95%. Meaning, I seriously doubt I had more than another 10 pounds in there with an all-out max. All right, so it was real close. It was real close. It doesn't necessarily look that way when you watch it, though, because it's all smooth and fast, right? But I could tell by the time I got to my bench work, the last 2 singles I did, I said, okay, I'm fatigued. I've clearly hit something that's very, very close to an all-out max. So I could tell based upon the fatigue, which didn't actually appear on the first single, so I bumped the weight. But we'll get to that in a minute. So here we go. Here's the max. Nice pause, nice and clean. So it looked good. It didn't look like a true max, but believe me, guys, it was very close. Like I said, I might at best case scenario, I had another 10 pounds, and that might be generous. So I did my 320. I've normally been doing 320, and I was like, well, next week I would go ahead and do the 325. But last week we deloaded for max effort day, so we didn't get any actual true normal bench pressing in. So maybe I was a little rusty, not perfectly in my groove. But the 320 actually felt really light, so I bumped it 5 more pounds. And those felt a little heavy. Like my 2 singles with 325 felt heavy. See that? You look at that, and it was just nice and clean. It's like, okay, that's, decently heavy, but we need to make sure we're above 90% for these, right? Maybe around 92, 93%, something in there. So I went ahead and went up to the 325, but these felt a little heavier. Like I could feel the 5 pounds difference. So these were getting relatively close to maxes at this point. And it's not to say that this is my max, it's that I was fatigued from the other, so it is going to reduce my strength output a little bit. Like these felt heavier. Like I could feel that 5 pounds difference. Like when I did that, notice it's a little slower. Now, people were looking at that and saying, well, that doesn't look like a true max. It's not, because it's not supposed to be. But it's supposed to be close enough that we get the training effect, right? We're trying to get that training effect. We're trying to be above 90%. And I try to do that on my big 3 every week. We want to get 3 fairly heavy singles for specificity of training because we're getting all this accommodating resistance. But, this took a fair amount out of me, and I noticed it when I got to my incline work. But like I said, I was happy with all the max work. But when I got to all my volume training, I'm kind of running into that situation to where I'm running out of steam. Like my chest and my triceps just don't have the work capacity that I want. Now, how do we build that work capacity? We train them. But I'm starting to realize I'm not going to be able to get away with additional big lifts. It's like I'm only going to be able to do one big movement. Because I notice it when I go to do the tricep stuff. I really, really want to do the close grip at the chains, but I also need to get this incline in because the incline's a weak link. And so I'm going to probably have to go back to JM presses. Might be what I need to do because they're not as fatiguing. You can be tired and still do the JM press. That's what I've noticed. Because this incline benching, you know, people are laughing. It's like, this is lightweight. And it's like, yeah, but after I've done all this other pressing first and then hitting an exercise like this that I'm weak at, it's tough, especially doing sets of 10. You know, I'm not really used to that. So I'm going to have to build my work capacity. But, you know, over time, as I continue to improve at this, especially doing, you know, like 5 sets of 10 twice a week or trying to get 5 sets of 10 twice a week, that's a lot of volume. You know, that's 10 sets of 10 every week for a secondary compound movement, right? That's a lot of training volume. But that's what we need. I need to bring up these areas. I need to get thicker. Right? I need my upper chest, my triceps, my delts, everything need to grow. Right? I need to increase my bench, and this is how we do it. You know, so everything's getting more specific to my bench press needs at this point. You know, and something came up with those rows yesterday, and I'll bring that up next session. Someone was like, oh, you should have done seal rows. The seal rows are not what I need. Right? That's actually not what I need. Those are a partial. And I'm not going to go buy dumbbells to turn them into a non-partial. The reverse band rows are what I actually need. They're going to benefit me because it's giving me practice setting up on a bench. It is literally the reverse of a bench press. All right, so if we want a rowing motion that is a complete carryover, I am set up in the exact torso angles of a bench press, the arch, everything when I do those. And then we're getting the peak contraction at the scapular retraction, which is what we're trying to hold on the bench. So again, that's a specific carryover, and it's specific to my needs because I'm one of those guys that I'm not worried about back development. My back is big. My back is thick. I'm not that worried about my lats getting wider. I need specific carryover. But yeah, this benching was tough on the incline, and I tried to pause, especially as we get further into the set. I'm trying to always pause on the last few reps, and in that last set I did, you know, a lot more pausing, longer pauses, because I want to make sure I'm just hammering my whole upper chest. The entire upper half of my chest, I needed to get stronger. I needed to thicken up. Same thing, trying to get that extra tricep work. And this is leaving even my triceps fatigued. Because again, I'm doing the heavy work with the reverse band and accommodating resistance. My triceps are getting hammered. Now, is it going to be enough? And I'm going to say maybe not. So I think I need to work the JM presses back in. All right, we basically had a week and a half away from JM presses. I was really progressing well on those, and as much as I want to do the other movement, the chain benches on a close grip, I just feel like the JM press I'm going to be able to physically do after the inclining. And so that's what I need to do. I need to make sure that my triceps continue to improve because I went to do these and this felt heavy. This is like no weight. This shows you how fatigued I'm getting, guys. This is how fatigued I'm getting. Seriously, one plate aside with 65 pounds of chains. This is only 200 pounds at the lockout. And you guys have seen me close grip 335 this year. So, yeah. That shows you how fatigued I'm getting at this point. That's how fatigued I'm getting. They felt good, though. I mean, you talk about really feeling it like this pump in my triceps. I felt it. But it's a question of I just can't get enough workload with this stuff. I can't get the workload I need. And if I can't get the workload I need, I'm not going to get the hypertrophy. So we're going to have to go back to the JM presses. As much as this exercise seems good, seems like a great idea, I can't cut the incline out. So we'll do the JM presses. Then we did the side laterals. Look at my belly. I ate probably more than I should have pre-workout today. And I'll hit my total calories for the day. I'm not going to overeat. I just ate a little heavier this morning, and I've noticed my belly. Got that food belly going for sure. For sure. But, you know, it's fine. It's good. Good training fuel. My second heavy day in a row. So I'll probably eat a little lighter tonight to make up for it. But, yeah, I could definitely feel it in my belly. It was all kind of poking out. And it made the training feel a little more fatiguing. That's one of the things you have to watch. Sometimes if you eat a little bit too much before you train, it can make you sluggish and slow you down. There's a balancing act with that. There really is. But it's fine. We still got good workload in. I mean, my triceps and chest are just getting fatigued. I think there is an issue of work capacity there, and I'm going to have to just implement other exercises to keep building that work capacity. But that work capacity will equal hypertrophy, and that hypertrophy will equal strength. So it's just going to have to be done, and the only way to do it is to just keep training it. Right? We have to improve the work capacity, and the only way to do that's with the weights. It is what it is, and I accept that, and I accept that my work capacity on those muscles isn't what I want, but we're going to keep improving it. And again, so we're going to stay bench specialized. My benching related stuff's going to get a little more work every week. Obviously, we care about the other lifts, but we're bench specializing a bit right now. So again, 2 full days every week dedicated to nothing but bench stuff, and even one of my accessory movements on the other days carries over to the bench. But the laterals were good, and I did a couple extra reps on the last set. And what's going to end up happening over time, these are going to go from sets of 10 to eventually sets of 12, then sets of 15, because, again, I'm kind of stuck with those dumbbells, but we can always add more reps and more volume. If you're stuck with a smaller movement you do at the end, we just have to keep increasing load. We increase the volume, right? It'll be fine. Again, we're just trying to bring my delts and shoulder girdle up. And then we do the strict curls. Slight weight bump today. I'm just going to keep working these up. I think for now I'm just going to keep the weight fairly constant, or not the weight, but the reps and sets. Just try to do 5 by 10 and try to micro load this up very, very slowly. But the fact that I'm getting strong enough to do any micro loading and still squeeze out my target reps tells me that we are getting some training effect. So that's good. That's what we want. And I feel like my arms are growing a little bit from it. It's not massive. It's not going to be a big change. I'm an advanced lifter. I don't have particularly good arm genetics. Definitely below average arm genetics. I think we all agree on that, right? Below average arm genetics. So I have to work hard for any sort of arm growth. And that includes the tricep stuff, like my tricep exercises. It requires some extra work from me. But we'll get there. But these will get the job done. And I mean, strict curl. No cheating allowed. I mean, my head and my back are locked against that pole. These are harder. They're definitely hard. Definitely hard. But again, it gets the job done. Gets the job done. So it'll be a good accessory movement. It's technically a contested lift. So we're technically powerlifting, lols. But it will improve my bench press because, again, thicker biceps and brachialis and brachioradialis and all of that can improve your bench press, particularly out of the bottom. So, again, it fills the niche of a couple of roles, and it's a good exercise, contested lift. So we're just going to keep doing it for a while, right? We might as well. It's no harm. It takes, 10 minutes out of my workout? 10 minutes at the end of 2 of my workouts just to do these curls. That's fine. I'll go ahead and do them. Right? I'm not losing anything by doing it. I'm not getting any connective tissue inflammation or problems like that. So we'll keep it up, and we'll, like I said, just try to progress on them as I'm able. Will I maybe have to do a little bit of periodization with them eventually? Sure. But I think for now, I can just treat them the way that I'm treating them and just go for the volume and try to slowly increase it up and see how strong we can get just doing this. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.